How's it going, everyone? This is Fever Gaming here. In today's episode, I'm talking about the top 10 best PlayStation 4 games so far when the video goes up. As of July 4th, 2016, these are the top 10 best PlayStation 4 games sold so far. At number 10, we have Uncharted Drake's Collection selling 4.24 million copies. A collection of the Uncharted trilogy that includes the first 3 Uncharted games pre-packaged onto the PlayStation 4. We follow our protagonist and friend Nathan Drake on his quest to finding treasure and getting himself in a lot of trouble and mischief. The games were originally created and distributed on the PlayStation 3 first. Afterwards, Sony decided to go ahead and pre-package it in anticipation for Uncharted 4. At number 9, we have The Last of Us selling 4.38 million copies. Once more, a remake of the critically acclaimed game on the PlayStation 3 makes its own debut onto the PlayStation 4 with 1080p graphics and 60 frames per second. This was Naughty Dog's first IP away from the Uncharted trilogy, which took place in a post-apocalyptic world, which was an action-adventure survival horror game that followed the story of the protagonists Joel and Ellie as they crossed the country to deliver Ellie to a safe location. It's all easy said than done, but obviously through your adventures of trying to cross the country, you encounter different enemies, different foes, different allies, in duration of the whole story, which actually develops the characters within the game. Very, very good game. At number 8, we have Destiny selling 5.62 million copies. Creators of the Halo series make their first appearance on the PlayStation platform in the form of an FPS with RPG and MMO elements. The game takes place in a mythical science fiction world. The main concept of the game is you play as a guardian and you're supposed to defend the Earth's last safe city from alien races. Among mixed reviews from critics and players alike, the game still received updates via DLC to keep gamers coming back and selling over 5 million copies. At number 7, we have our first sports game, FIFA 15, selling 6.57 million copies. The football game, or as we call it over here in the States, a soccer game. Sorry about that, my international viewers. If you've never played a FIFA game, the best way I can describe it is it's an actual football/soccer game where you actually can play against, members online with your friends, pick a team, have a match. That's about it. Obviously, there's a lot of different alliterations within the game besides just the matches and the tournaments. Obviously, you can go ahead and build a career. You can go ahead and have a season within the game, play against other members online, as well as goofing off by playing some of the miniature practices and activities within the game. At number 6, we have Fallout 4 selling 6.71 million copies. Amongst a high expectation and anticipation, Fallout 4 was the first to arrive to the next-gen console. Fallout 4 takes place in the post-apocalyptic Boston City in the year 2287. The game takes place 210 years after the devastating nuclear war, where you, the player, get to emerge from a vault and subsequently explore the remains of the world. The open-world liberty and element allows you to explore and discover new gadgets and gizmos, as well as different characters and different abilities within the game. At number 5, we have Star Wars Battlefront, the 2015 edition, selling 7.47 million copies. Battlefront is an action shooter which was actually the third major release from the Star Wars subseries and considered to be a reboot as opposed to a sequel. And despite the high expectations the game received and the mixed reviews upon release, the game managed to sell a pretty decent amount of copies, 7.47 to be exact. Players traverse from planets from the Star Wars trilogy, and rather than having a story of its own, actually reinterpret stories and battles from the series with familiar characters, surroundings, and environments. And despite the online and mixed reviews that the game has received, a lot of players seem to come back with the online multiplayer component, having more content to play on. At number 4, we have the notorious Call of Duty series with Advanced Warfare selling 7.57 million copies. The Call of Duty series in general has been a huge impact within the gaming industry. Whether you do like it or dislike the game in the series, the fact that it's actually been able to create a huge community within the online multiplayer component has definitely set a new standard for a lot of new games that come out. This was among Sledgehammer's first attempt to actually make a Call of Duty game, and they were successful in doing so. Advanced Warfare is a military science fiction FPS that takes place in the years 2054 through 2061, which follows the protagonist Jack as a U.S. Marine Corps and his interactions with Atlas, a private company corporation that sells its services to the highest bidder. With Call of Duty's well-known and established online multiplayer, Advanced Warfare is no exception of being a best-selling game on the PlayStation 4. At number 3, we have another FIFA game, FIFA 16, selling 8.03 million copies. The main component or difference between FIFA 15 and FIFA 16 has to be the update within the player's allocation when it comes to the clubs that they play for, the stats of each individual player, and, the international teams, and that's about it. EA has been very successful for just updating the game briefly and being able to actually prepackage the game by selling it $60, and people would still buy it and eat it up. among there being just a couple few different alliterations, with there being a better robust online multiplayer experience, graphic design, and just small little details. FIFA 15 and 16 aren't necessarily all that different, but our fans across the pond love their FIFAs, don't you guys? At number 2, we have Grand Theft Auto 5 selling 11.15 million copies. A remake from last generation's blockbuster game, Grand Theft Auto 5 makes its own debut onto the PlayStation 4 platform, and being able to repackage itself with 1080p graphics, 60 frames per second, and the first-person perspective, which also included small improvements within the game when it came to graphics and any sort of glitches that it may have encountered, as well as a more robust and increasing the cap of the online multiplayer component. If you never played a Grand Theft Auto game, essentially it's an action-adventure game where players complete missions with set objectives, but also gives you the liberty to actually free roam within the city, that being Los Santos in Grand Theft Auto 5. In hindsight, Grand Theft Auto 5 is huge and massive in comparison to the previous iterations of the Grand Theft Auto series. With more character development and interactions within the Grand Theft Auto game, with a more robust and comprehensive online multiplayer experience, Grand Theft Auto 5 is no exception to being a great Grand Theft Auto game on the PlayStation 4. And the number one best-selling PlayStation 4 game is, drumroll please, is Call of Duty Black Ops 3, selling 13.26 million copies. It's crazy to think that a Call of Duty game has been able to sell millions upon millions of copies within the PlayStation platforms, and whether you do like or dislike the series as a whole, the fact that Activision has been able to actually be successful in these past games is evident of its attraction with gamers that it has. Now obviously the brand new Call of Duty game may not receive the same attention and likes of the players and gamers alike, but Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was able to still grasp the remaining players that definitely still like Call of Duty. Black Ops 3 takes place in the year 2065, where the fictional world faces climate changes and advanced technologies, while the world is at a standoff, equipping themselves with high military technologies. The online multiplayer component within the Call of Duty series makes its return with the addition of zombies, making it their first appearance on the new console. Black Ops 3 also delivers in the zombie components, in something that a lot of fans and gamers alike have been liking since the Black Ops 1 iteration. Alright, so this video wraps up the top 10 best-selling PlayStation 4 games of all time. Obviously, the list can be updated within months and weeks after the video has been uploaded. This has been Fever Gaming signing off, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.